Family can be a tricky subject for new Muslims. They may have relatives that have a negative perception of Islam through dishonest media propaganda, and if you don't do the research, that negative perception isn't going to go anywhere. I've spoken to reverts that still don't speak to family members 20 years on. I've spoken to reverts that family members have been absolutely fine with it from the beginning. And in Islam, it's very important to maintain good ties with our families, which again can be difficult to navigate for reverts at times. So how did your family react to your reversion?
Every person in my family reacted a little differently, and I told them at different times. I actually first told my brother because him and I were like best friends. He was like, if it brings you closer to God and it makes you a better person, then I support it. My sister, I told her, she had a very similar reaction. She was like, thank you so much for trusting me. So then I told my parents about 1 year on, and my father was understandably very angry. He did not talk to me for a while. I got in a really horrible car accident, and we hadn't really spoken between when I told him and when I got in the car accident. He had to come back to Texas to then drive me up to St. Louis. That was actually kind of a blessing in disguise because it was the first time that we got to connect since I told them. And then my mother was really sad. I did feel bad for her. She was crying a lot, and I knew that it was hard for her to hear that. And since I told them, they've almost like doubled down on wanting to study more Catholicism and understand the history more, which I actually really, really appreciated, because it's much easier for me to get along with someone who is so sure about their faith and has done the research than someone who's just blindly following. So from that angle, we get along much better because we have a lot more respect for each other because we all have more religious knowledge. So since then, some days are easier, some days are harder. I am trying to be very respectful and maintaining family dynamics because Islam puts so much emphasis on respecting our parents and loving our parents.
I could imagine what you would want is for them to also be Muslim, and inshallah one day they will be. I've always said that our conduct as Muslims is the best dawah that you can get. What better place to show how Islam is working as a positive force in our lives than amongst our family members? And I found that two things normally warm non-Muslim family members to their relatives becoming Muslim. Firstly, as I said, seeing the improvements in lifestyle, conduct and habits, and if they see that you're doing well in life, you're happy. And then secondly, I've noticed that once kids come along, even the most strongly opposed family members soften, such as a beautiful gift of children. So inshallah, in time, things will ease for you, and I will definitely do dua that your family will choose to accept Islam sometime in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah.